Hi everyone, this is Ashley Kay. If you're a high quality woman looking for a high quality man, then you've come to the right place. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about 7 things women do that turn men off. So why do you need to even worry about this? Shouldn't you just be yourself, put yourself out there and not worry about what guys think or what guys care about? And whoever is attracted to you must like you for you. Well, that's great. However, things get a little bit more complicated the older we get. If you're a high quality woman and you're an older women tend to have higher standards for men because they know what they want. They've dated guys in the past. They've learned from their experience. They want a very particular kind of man that will treat them a certain way or have certain things in his life. So they have standards, high standards. And you should have high standards if you want a high quality man. However, if we look at the whole dating market, everybody who is in the dating pool, there can only be a certain percentage that are high quality and the rest less than quality. Because the whole definition of high quality means they're rare. There's less of them. There's only one Apple in the world. There's only one Google in the world. There's only one Netflix of the world. Top tier companies, there's only one of that type, one giant that's dominating because they're quality, they're premium. They're premium because they're rare, and that kind of goes along with the game. The same applies in the dating market. If you're going for high quality guys, there's also going to be a lot of less than quality guys that are going to be in the market. The reason you should care, high quality guys, because they're rare, they're snatched up like that. Any woman who's been dating for a little while will know that the amount of guys that you see, they're not always boyfriend material, husband material. So when you see a guy who is husband material, he sticks out like a sore thumb. But not just you will notice this, every other woman who's looking will see it too. So that means he's gonna be snatched up super fast. That is why high quality guys over 30, over 40, 50, any guy over a certain age who's high quality, they're not going to remain single for long. Naturally, they're going to be in relationships pretty quick because they're a good quality guy. My definition of high quality probably will be close to your definition of high quality. We just want a guy who's trustworthy, who's respectful, treats us well, who is a family person, who's nice, loving, who is emotionally mature, who knows who he is, knows where he's going in life, has a stable career, can handle himself in situations. When people say your standards are high, what they mean is if you want all of those qualities in one guy, plus you want chemistry as well, you want a connection as well, that gets very narrow, right? The choices become quite narrow, especially if you start adding in, he also needs to be good looking, he needs to be tall, he needs to not have kids, not be married, not have any exes. The odds start to get smaller and smaller and smaller the more criteria you add to it. Those kind of guys are highly desirable and they're very rare. You need to step up, bring your A game when you date. You need to be aware of what these kind of guys are looking for, how to impress them, attract them, and keep them. Because if you're not ready for that guy, there's plenty of girls lining up behind you that's going to be ready to take him. This is more so where I'm coming from in terms of why you should care. So let's get into the tips. Number 1, women who expect a man to pursue her and yet will not pursue him. When it comes to quality men, because they are pursued by other women and they are in high demand, you can't just expect them to chase you. You have to also court them. It has to go both ways. Number 2, women who dumb themselves down in order to impress a man. I've been guilty of this one a couple of times and I wasn't even aware of it. I was at a nightclub and I noticed this guy with a whole group of other girls, but I was just kind of standing near them. I initiated a conversation with him and we started talking. I think he was impressed because I approached him first. So pat myself on the back for that one, right? So anyway, we were talking, and halfway through the conversation, I started to downplay, myself. So I started to say, oh, I'm really bad at making decisions. I'm just not very good. I'm like all over the place. I'm just terrible. Making me small in front of him. Looking back, I realized I only did that to try to impress him, to make him feel like he was a man, like he was better than me and all that kind of stuff. But then afterwards, I was like, that's stupid, because as soon as I said that, his demeanor changed. His attitude towards me changed. What he was attracted to was that happy, confident woman who first approached him. But as soon as I started to downplay myself, instantly his attention just went. At that point, I was never going to downplay my abilities again. If you are dumb about something, laugh about it. I make mistakes all the time in front of a guy. Like I'll try to open the door the wrong way, or I'll go down an escalator when I should be going up the escalator, like stupid, goofy things like that. But then I just laugh at it because they're genuine mistakes. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about actually deliberately putting yourself down in front of him to try to impress him. Number 3, women who wear too much makeup. Now, I'm all for women who love makeup, who love putting on as much as they want. I think that's great. I think makeup is a great way to express yourself artistically as well, using your face as a canvas. I think that's great. However, when you're going on a date with a guy, the whole premise with going on a date is that you want to show him you. He wants to see the real you, not you behind 10 layers of makeup. Use makeup to accentuate your natural beauty, but don't use it as an excuse to cover yourself, to hide yourself. Guys instantly know if you have a lot of makeup on, then he's instantly going to feel like, okay, what are you trying to hide? Because clearly you don't just wake up in the morning looking like that. You don't step out of the shower looking like that. When you're first going on dates, initial dates with someone, be mindful of that. Show who you really are. Don't try to cover yourself up and not, necessarily put a spotlight on your worst qualities, but there's a fine line between that and then covering it up completely. Number 4, women who need a man's validation. I'm not saying a woman shouldn't need a man's validation, because in all honesty, every woman wants and needs some of a man's validation, okay? Even if you're the most confident woman in the world, even if you're Beyonce, even Beyonce wants Jay-Z's approval, validation to impress him. As women, we want a man's praise. We want our man to feel proud to be with us, to praise us, to make us feel like he adores us and that we're a feminine woman. If you're all the time trying to get his validation because you have such a low self-esteem, you don't feel you're worth anything unless you can get a man's approval all the time, that's when it becomes a problem. This is more a cautionary tale for women who have low self-esteem. If you have low self-esteem, you actually attract narcissists, sociopaths, bad men, selfish guys who don't really care about you. You will attract those kind of guys because those kind of guys instantly sniff out easy victims for them. They want a girl who they can easily manipulate. And women with low self-esteem are very easy to manipulate. You just have to tell her what she wants to hear, give her a bit of praise, and then control her in other small little ways. If you have low self-esteem, you are actually very vulnerable to being taken advantage of by narcissists and bad men. When I was dating, I didn't need that man's validation. I didn't need to impress him because I knew I already have value. If he wasn't impressed, or even if he was impressed, I'd just be like, I don't read too much into it. I don't read too much into his compliments. I don't read too much into negative things that he has to say about me, his digs at me. I'm just like, I just shrug it off because to me, it doesn't really mean anything because I'm not giving him any power over me. And that's where you should be when you date, where you're already feeling fulfilled. You already know your high value. So whether a guy approves of you, rejects you, or not, it doesn't matter because you're going to take it all with a grain of salt anyway. Number 5, women who play games. Now, I've definitely made this boo-boo in the past. I used to think There was nothing more boring than two people madly in love where they get along like best friends and they never have a disagreement. They just sit on the couch, do their own thing, watch movies, and everything is roses and dandy and great. I just thought that was the most boring thing in the world. Yeah, this made my dating life a bit more interesting, probably why I didn't get married until much later on in life. If you are someone who tends to like playing games, who like the uncertainty of that initial, he chased me, I chase him, that push-pull type of thing, and actually being in the relationship part is just really boring, then you're really gonna have a hard time attracting and keeping good quality guys. Quality men do not play games. They don't have time for games. They think games are very immature, and they are. I was very immature when I did that. Also, it's a sign that in a relationship, you can't just be happy and content, being happy and content. Because honestly, in my past relationships, this is how destructive it was for my previous relationships. If we hadn't had an argument in X number of weeks or whatever, I would just cause an argument just so there was something going on. In my mind, I was like, at least when we're screaming at each other, we're talking and we're like, we can have hot makeup sex afterwards, and then there's a bit of excitement there. Totally dysfunctional thinking. I realize that now, thank God. And I learned that before I met my husband. I mean, it was still something I had to kind of slowly get out of habit of, because when you do something for so long, you just think it's normal. But that's definitely something I realize now looking back, that was so messed up. I can't believe I used to think like that. If that is something you can sort of identify with, I would really grow up quick. That kind of behavior is very immature, and quality men will not put up with that at all. Number 6, being too clingy and needy. I don't think being clingy and needy by itself is really that bad. If two people are clingy and needy together, if they have a lot of time to be together all the time, to talk, to hang out, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. However, if you want a high quality guy who has his own life, who has hobbies, who has a good career, a good job, who is ambitious, who has things going on in his life, then that goes without saying that he's not always going to have the time or the energy, the emotional energy to look after you and your needs all the time. You need to meet your own needs when he can't, and not to worry too much or read into things too much when a guy can't give you what you want in that particular moment. And number 7, women who are too negative. When I was single and dating, I did the right thing in that I was very positive, very happy. I was in a good place in my life. So of course, naturally, when you're happy and positive and you're in a good place, you can attract guys to you very easily. That's how I was able to attract my husband. Men are attracted to happy, positive people, as probably you are. It wasn't until after me and him started dating for a little while, he showed me some online dating profiles he was looking at, and I was so surprised at the number of women who put on their profiles all the things they didn't want in a man instead of all the things they did want. So they would say things like, please, no lies, no cheaters, no players on their profile. And I've also heard of stories where women would go on dates and they'd spend a lot of time talking about all the guys who's hurt them, or the terrible exes that they've dated, or the bad relationships they've had. And I just want to once again caution you that if you are very open and honest about all that negative stuff, all the negative experiences that you've had in the past, then you're basically putting a massive stamp on your forehead for the narcissist. Yeah, pick me for your next victim. Because narcissists, bad men, manipulative men, they want a woman who is weak and who they can control and manipulate. If you tell a guy that in the past, other men have hurt you, controlled you, manipulated you, he's going to be thinking, oh, maybe she's someone I can manipulate. So you're pretty much putting a stamp over your head like, please pick me as your next victim. Be very careful of what negative image that you're projecting in your profiles and when you're dating in general. Always put forward the positive side, what you want in a man, what you're looking for, instead of all the things you don't want. There's always two sides to every coin. There's the negatives and there's the positives. So it's always your choice to choose which side you want to focus on. That's it from me this week. If you like this video, please like me, comment below, leave me some comments. If you have any questions or feedback, I'd love to hear it. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll be back with another dating and relationship video next week. Bye.